Hello, my children.
She's
Mom.
pretending like she's going to talk at this normal volume the whole
David,
time.
are you drunk?
I haven't got.
I want Simon and
Alvin,
Simon and Theodore to meet in Europe.
A bye.
Bye. A David.
No, Miri was not into.
All right, gang. Mom,
Let's start.
Are you ready for
Yes.
your birthday show?
Yes, I am I'm a year older since yesterday.
Does mom know the outline, or are we just giving it to her?
Is that how it works?
She doesn't know. I figured.
I thought I was here to talk about the Mandalorian.
Do you need this? To
What?
keep you warm? Are you warm enough?
I'm not cold.
Dad
She's
is the one
worse
with the
mother than
cold
I am.
bones.
No, this one
Yeah,
acts like my mother.
No,
like all the time.
I'm traumatized. I go behind mom and I'm like, did you cough? Do you need a tissue? Did you sneeze? Should I take your temperature? Open your rectum. I want to get a good read.
She's driving me nuts.
My
kid.
kids,
Save
by
me.
the way,
Save me from Lily.
Whenever anyone's sick, my kids are like, we know what happens if we call Bubba. She's going to start to try to put medicine in your tushy.
Yeah. And then
Listen, my mother, Harry will tell you, and Mario, my mother would do a Keystine. You know what that is, right?
It's an enema, I'm telling you. But Becky and I
but with the red water bottle.
Becky and I 100% agree that is a good remedy for most illnesses.
Oh, guys, I have a colonoscopy coming up in like next month. And I am
fentanyl for the road.
Are you excited? Are you joking?
I mean, an
first
American
of all,
colonoscopy is not bad compared to a Canadian one.
First of all, you get to do like
Canadians don't believe in drugs.
You get to do a full cleanse, right? So I'm like, I get to do like a medically approved full cleanse, get to evacuate everything, start from scratch. Who doesn't like to do that? It's like when you get a new computer. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, pretty sure.
You sound like Jose who loves fasting on Yom Kippur. I mean, really.
Oh,
there's a lot
great.
of good.
Are you new to this world?
There's a lot of good material for a cold open here.
I know. The cold open is just going to be all of this.
2, propofol. I mean, propofol is like.
I mean, when they gave me they did
the
say to me.
The last time they gave me that, it burned my veins so much I was screaming.
No,
it burned at the top of my lungs.
It's because your IV wasn't in properly.
No, it burns. It burns when it goes in.
It burned so much. The doctor was going, "What is wrong with you?" And then I went to sleep.
It burned when I went in my surgery just now, and I was like, "Hey, I was like, hey, it's burning," and he's like, "Yeah." In about a minute, you won't care. And I was like,
my
minute, it's less than 10 seconds.
My doctor said to me.
It was seconds, but I was
in a minute, I mean like
in Spanish.
Shy, what did your doctor say to you?
I don't know. My doctor said to me right as he's giving it to me, he's like, this stuff's really good. This is the stuff that killed Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
that guy has dark humor.
But I have to tell you,
my doctor was like, get ready for the best nap of your life.
Right, but I have to tell you, I get it. Like, it's so good. Like, if I could take that every night
and go to bed at night, are you kidding me?
You wouldn't hear your baby crying. How awesome is that?
You wouldn't. You would just, it's such a good sleep.
Such a good sleep.
Here we are, and welcome to a festive episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast, because this episode is going to be about the progenitor of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. It is our mother, Fanny's birthday, and she is here. Lily has her in Spain. They are on sharing earphones, so the amount of chaos,
it's going to be loud,
is insane. Mom, happy birthday. And are there any more birthday surprises that the people in this family can ruin for you?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I really appreciate you rallying behind me as I turn a year older. But I have a very big question before we get to the gifts. Are you a year older anywhere in the world that it becomes midnight and it's now the next day? Or are you a year older on the hour in the time zone that you were born? This is something that kept me up.
I think that when the day turns the date where you are is your birthday, I don't get as worked up over the exact time. Also, because I can never remember
No,
what time I was
I think
born.
you'd have to calculate time zones. Like, you know,
So if I was born at 5:15 p.m., what would be Eastern time? Or maybe it wasn't because it was in the Andes. So I'm not sure. So let's just assume for argument's sake, it was Eastern time.
She was born in Venezuela, for those listening.
On Friday, November 13, 1953, did I turn 67 at 5:16 p.m. Eastern time on November 13th of 2020?
Is it still your birthday in the
Yes.
Andes? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, and is it still my birthday?
I think if it's not your time zone, it's the future or the past.
shouldn't your birthday start from the time you were born 4:20 for the next 24 hours instead of midnight on the day you were born?
I think
That's
That's what I'm
another
asking.
debate, but most
That's
people
Like
don't
it
know the
should be
time
more
they
of
were
like a
born.
Jewish calendar,
Wait.
like an Erev birthday into
also
birthday.
that gives way more
Wait.
time for the late birthday wishes.
True. Also,
Yeah,
Becky's
because I got a lot of
birthday.
birthday wishes.
Becky's birthday begins when my birthday ends, and her
It's been my
birthday
birthday. It's
begins.
been my
Which is
birthday.
hilarious because mine and Becky's own child are in between.
But all that matters is Becky's
I'm-
birthday.
I've
Becky
been
only
re-
cares about her
So-
own
I
birthday.
have
Even in
been
her
re-
birthday wish to me, she mentioned her
So,
birthday.
Mom, we had
been
a whole bunch of
recalibrating.
surprises for you for your birthday. And
Should I list the ones you've given me already?
Well, and one by one,
Oh, you've gotten all of them.
we've gotten all of them, but one by one, as each one was
Listen
supposed to
carefully.
be secret, it was ruined, and then like somewhere in there, like my own birthday present was ruined. So
Right. No, it wasn't enough to ruin all of Mom's surprises. Then we had to just like ruin your birthday in case.
And-
Does this
I
mean
nearly
no
had a
one's
nervous
planning my
breakdown.
birthday?
Here's the thing. Here's
Nope.
the thing. You
Because I don't
actually
have any.
nobody.
No one.
The truth is, nobody ruined my birthday surprises because I only listened with half an ear, and I actually had no clue what any of the
so why don't you
surprises
talk about your
were.
wonderful birthday that Lily organized that Becky and I helped?
It
with?
was incredible what Lily did, and I
And
knew
Becky
she was up to something.
They helped me a
I don't know,
lot.
but you have to have lived in the household
Really?
where
No.
every time I went through a door, Lily would be, "Get out of here! Get out of here! I'm busy." And I'm going,
We
"Why
had
are
a
you
lot
so
of phone
busy
calls
with
to
that kid?"
make.
She goes, "I have a lot of phone calls to make. I'm
And
doing a lot of
WhatsApps
stuff."
and
And I'm
emails.
going, "What is wrong with you?" And she goes, "Don't ruin the surprise." And I'm going, "Oh, I guess it must be about my birthday. Fine, I'll walk away." But it was
Didn't matter.
constant for about 3 days.
Didn't matter.
It was like
Because, for
constant.
example, I had this like really cool chocolate and Guinness beer cake
It's
made
actually amazing, Becky.
with a cream cheese frosting at this bakery that my friend owns. And I had Dad and Ari pick it up, and I like arranged them coming through to the house to put it in like our second refrigerator that we have in the other part of the apartment, that so Mom wouldn't see them because she was in the living room, and then they were going to fake go back in through the door. So she thought they were just coming home.
Can I
And I
finish
had
telling them?
orchestrated the whole thing so she'd never know. They brought home like gigantic cake, and
Flavored
it's all
with
done.
beer.
It's all ready, flavored with beer. And they walk in the door,
And Ari comes running into my arms and goes, Bobby, Papa and I just picked up your birthday cake. It's awesome.
it's in the refrigerator.
Kids
And
always
I'm like,
spill the
are you
beans.
kidding me? Oh my god!
It was very sweet,
Kids
though.
and
I told
adults.
Lily it was worth hearing it from him. And then at the birthday dinner, she wanted me not to see the cake until after we finished eating dinner.
like when
Dilemma
like
number
like a
one.
normal birthday.
Ari needed to go to sleep before we had dinner. But all day long, he'd been talking about this birthday cake that he went to pick up. And about a half hour before his bedtime, he goes, "Can we do your birthday now? Can we do your birthday now?" You know how 4-year-olds constantly are repeating the same thing? And Lily's going, "No, we're going to do it after dinner." And I go,
Anyways.
"Are you nuts? This poor 4-year-old wants to see the birthday
Long
cake."
story short, he made her try the birthday cake, and like way before we even had dinner, which
It
was
was
pretty
great.
If we
funny.
waited for you guys to have dinner in Spain.
This
every
is
time
true,
you wanted to
too.
eat something. I mean, but the other great one was, and I feel bad because Becky. Well, no, Becky is the person in our family who tells you not to tell her secrets, right? Because she won't remember what's a secret.
No. I am literally like the
No.
lost and found of secrets. That is the way
No.
to describe it.
No, wait,
People
this
just
is the
dump
best.
them on me,
Wait,
and
no,
my problem is
then-
I can't keep track of who's secret.
We
whose. So I just don't-
we also before Becky ruined the other surprise, we got Mom a gift that Jose got the confirmation by email. Okay. And Mom do you hear Jose? Can you hear him?
Shouting.
Jose, we can hear
Shouting,
you.
screaming.
He's talking to your husband, but I guess he thinks that like I don't know, we're on mute.
That loud for Vlad? I feel like Vlad's gonna.
No.
No,
Yeah,
Jose's
anyway,
the one
sorry.
that's loud.
So Mom then sits down on my computer, opens up somehow. I don't understand how. Jose's email on my computer.
Because mom's a snooper.
Yeah.
She's,
And-
like I said,
I just
find
need
the
to
accidental
find a
spy.
mail application.
She is.
Segue.
I will
Pitch in
watch that
perfect.
show.
What are we
For
talking
her.
about?
You as an accidental spy, and the gift pops up, and I'm like, God damn it! And then
I didn't see it.
And then she's being very kind, but
No,
she
it's
did.
true. I didn't.
And then we go to show her the birthday cameo that we got her, which is from. That was like saving us as a surprise. That Fiona the hippo from the a celebrity hippo that my mom follows diligently in the Cincinnati Zoo. We have the book, we have the toy, everything, and
I'm a kid at heart.
we're about to show it to her, and Becky goes on Zoom. We're all on Zoom, and Becky goes, "Miri, hurry! It's a video of a hippo." And I'm like, just forget it. I'm like, for fuck's
Once
sake.
again,
The
we've
truth
watched it
is-
20 times since then.
What you need to
So-
understand
And Becky
is
goes,
that
"Oh shit!"
what my 3 children do not understand is that I really only listen to them with half an ear, and I truly, Becky, did not hear what you said. All I heard was the word video, and I figured, oh, okay, there's going to be a video.
Anyway,
But I thought it was a video of you guys doing messages for me, like I got in the morning from Lily. So it never occurred to me that it would be Fiona the
So
hippo.
let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let's count them up. We made mom a video of messages. Then we got her a video
Yes.
of a hippo, and her real present was to come on the podcast. We've essentially given her like the equivalent of coupons, of like mom coupon. Let's be very clear that our gift to her
real
was
gift
you can
is
come
a
and talk to
hug.
us for 1 hour.
No, but they. No,
Everybody.
but the truth is, I am assuming you all chipped into
Mom.
this very expensive 2 nights at a 5-star hotel with my own swimming pool and a butler. You guys
No.
didn't chip in for
yes,
that?
of course.
I don't think you know
Everybody
how much that hippo cost. All right.
It's a
Now,
very
the
expensive
other
hippo.
thing mom got was a poem from my older daughter, but I'm not going to read it here because I just want you to
I
know
love that
that
poem.
she wrote poems about everyone in our family. And I want you to read mine so you understand the level of quality
God
you got
knows
from my
what
daughter.
she said in mine, because I still will never forget the time she said, "Oh, Tia Becky's having a baby. That's so wonderful. Should Lily have another one? Maybe not. Have you seen Ari? That kid is wild."
So,
And that stays with me.
so this is what she wrote about me. Now, you remember how beautiful the one she wrote about mom was, right? Okay, so this is what she wrote about me. Shy.
It's amazing.
It's an acrostic. So each sentence begins with with a letter. Shy. Shy is in love with farts. He can be late. Alas, never farts at the dinner table. He says it's rude. iPhone loves him.
That is incredibly accurate. So maybe she was right about me not procreating more.
Okay. And now the topic of today is we're going to catch up on so many fun things we've been watching. We want to start with a special thing we made for mom. We're going to play a signature game called the Compare-a-thon, which existed
don't
before
know
it was
this game.
named by the great Chris Royce from the Buddies Without Borders podcast. And Compare-a-thon works like this, Mom. I'm going to put a topic up, and then I'm going to weigh it against something. You're going to tell me which one wins. So if I said Coke, and then I said, all right, Coke or Sprite, you would say which one you like, right? So Coke or Sprite?
Coke,
Coke,
obviously.
of course.
All right,
Oh,
Coke or
God.
root
What
beer?
are we, Dad?
Coke.
Drinking
Coke.
Coke.
Okay, all right,
Root
good.
beer
Okay,
left.
good. You know how to play it. So we want to play it this year because it's your birthday.
We know how to play, or we like Coke.
We're
Sure.
we are gonna play with some of mom's favorite hunks of all time, because you're hunks. Mom's like classic hunks that she loves. It's her birthday. We're getting her hunks like it's the 80s. The rig. So we're gonna start with our number one here is Mark Harmon. Okay, Mom, you got to be unmuted to play the game.
She's laughing so hard, no one will be able to hear you.
No, that's right.
So,
All right, so Mom.
The best part is the
Mom.
mom laugh.
Yeah, the best is
I
mom's
know,
laugh. All
but-
right, Mom. Mark Harmon or Kurt Russell?
Oh, that's so hard.
you gotta explain your
Shai.
answer.
I think Mark Harmon.
Explain your answer.
I think it's
Whoa.
because I've seen Kurt Russell in movies since he was 6 years old. So he's more or less my age, and it's kind of hard to think of. It's like a brother. It's kind of hard to
I
think
would
of
like
him as
you
a
all
hunk.
to
So Mark
know
Harmon.
That when Tequila Sunrise came out,
Do I know
and
who Mark
Kurt
Harmon is?
Russell and
And
Mel
CIS.
Oh,
when Kurt Russell and Mel Gibson were vying for Michelle Pfeiffer in the movie, and I asked Mom which one she thought would get the girl, she said Mel Gibson for the exact same reason she said about Kurt Russell now, 20 plus years ago, which is that Kurt Russell she knew.
Really? You remember?
I remember. It's amazing. So
He's
then your
like
next
a brother
one up,
to her.
in honor of that, your next one up is Mel Gibson, Mark Harmon or Mel Gibson. And let's make it easy. Old, crazy, anti-Semitic Mel Gibson.
I wouldn't.
Fair,
You know what? No, even young Mel Gibson, I think
She didn't like a mullet. Mom doesn't like a mullet.
Yeah, I don't like a mullet. I always thought Mel Gibson was extraordinary as an actor, but I think Mark Harmon is more like handsome and sexy.
Oh, geez. All right. So Mark Harmon or Harrison Ford? Any era Harrison Ford.
Oh, that is tough.
Mark Harmon or Harrison Ford?
Are we doing?
She was just saying while we were watching Mando, she was just saying, I feel like there needs to be a little bit more Han Solo in this.
Young Harrison Ford
and old Harrison Ford.
and old Harrison Ford
Old
are
Harrison
pretty
Fords.
hunky. Yeah, I don't like his attitude, but you got to say the guy's got sex appeal.
So Mark Harmon or Harrison Ford?
It's so dumb.
Ford.
Only gonna
Move
get
on.
harder.
Let's
It's
go.
only-
Let's go with Harrison
All
Ford.
right.
only gonna get
Harrison
harder.
Ford or Dennis Quaid?
Dennis Quaid.
Young Dennis Quaid,
Oh,
hands
Mom.
down. No
Now
question
I'm
about
playing.
it.
Loves young
Dennis Quaid.
No. Young Dennis Quaid, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, this is good. Now we're in the young years. So
And
great.
old Dennis Quaid.
All
Wait,
Dennis
and old
Quaids.
Dennis Quaid. All Dennis Quaids.
Okay.
Dennis Quaid and Clooney specifically in his ER days.
Nah, Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
I never
loved
found
Clooney.
Clooney. I think Clooney's incredibly handsome. He's amazing, but for some reason, I like Dennis Quaid's sex appeal more.
Dennis Quaid's more of a Han Solo rogue. All right. Now we're going to really test you, Mom.
Oh,
Dennis Quaid or
Going back to your roots.
Mark Anthony?
nah, Dennis Quaid. Mark Anthony won't fail.
She just called him ugly in Spanish.
All right. Dennis Quaid, the final round of the Compare-a-thon.
Although he does have sex appeal, but no, not my type.
The final.
Ooh, Andy Garcia.
The final round of the Compare-a-thon.
Okay. Andy
Dennis Quaid
Garcia or
Andy
Dad?
Garcia?
Oh God.
I mean, this is kind of weird because
Maybe.
Dennis Quaid reminds me a little bit of Dad, and Andy Garcia reminds me of Mario. So this is like a very tough.
This is very weird. No, I
Quaid,
if
move
you,
on.
yeah, no, yes, Dennis Quaid is more sexy.
Dennis
than Andy
Quaid
Garcia.
wins.
That's her number one.
All right. So Dennis Quaid is the winner of Mom's birthday compare-a-thon. I feel like that was a great use of the compare-a-thon.
Although, if you were to say Dennis Quaid, Mark Harmon, no, Dennis Quaid, yeah.
Well, Dennis Quaid. Oh, interesting. Dennis Quaid or Mark Harmon. Yeah, we go back to the beginning. Still Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid's body of work is a little more impressive. All right.
Yes.
Now let's talk about some of the stuff we've been watching. Have we all watched The Holiday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Starring Emma Roberts.
We did,
a
and
guy
Lily
that
and I loved
thought
it.
was a Hemsworth, but
Loved it. So did
I just assumed he was a lesser known Hemsworth. Oh, you guys-
Mom
I
went
looked
down
it
a
up.
Google rabbit hole.
I
She's
looked
sitting
it
next
up.
to me and
I
she's
was
like,
going, this guy's one of the fourth brother. I said,
this is the fourth Hemsworth. And I was like, no, there's only three. And she's like, no, this one's definitely one of them. She says she liked the movie because she spent most of it on her phone trying to figure out if this guy was related to the Hemsworths.
I just
So
for
he's
most
not
of the
how
movie, I
every
was
once
like,
in a while they make a movie with a lookalike from someone who's a star. This is the Hemsworth lookalike for this movie.
yeah, this guy's gonna get like the way Josh Lucas gets all of the McConaughey parts.
Like
Yeah,
that, right? That he,
exactly.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's the lookalike. When they can't get the Hemsworth boys, they bring him in.
So would you buy, rent, or meh this movie? Or what'd you like about it or not like about it?
Holiday rent.
I'd say maybe rent. Yeah.
Rent.
For me, it's a solid rent. It's a rent.
Yeah, definitely rent. I
Renter.
enjoyed it so much, and I didn't enjoy it as much as is it called The Holiday? The one with
Oh, that's the worst.
the one you hate, but Allie and I love.
But
That one I would buy, but Holiday I would rent.
here's the thing about Holidays. The biggest flaw, in addition to being old tropes and dated and yada, 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 its actual
it's fun.
greatest flaw is that it's 20 minutes too long.
But I thought it's an hour and 20 minutes. And
It's an hour and 44 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was.
It needed to be.
But that includes the credits.
It needed to be 80 to 85 minutes.
You know why? They really didn't need that sister storyline, and that, like, I think they didn't. That kind of got drawn out a little bit in like a weird way.
And the only reason I was supposed to rent is that I didn't think it. I thought the ending was okay. Let's get this over with. Boom, bing, bang. After all this time, and then all of a sudden, the movie they went to photos. It's like they ran out of money and they didn't need to pay the actors anymore, so they just put photos up.
Mom was like, why can't we see that part of the movie? Like, what's going on here?
Just go to the Christmas dinner.
It probably was in the original script.
What is this?
Yeah,
I'm sure it was. And they ran out of time and money, and they just said, let's just do a slideshow.
So this movie has.
But that's why. But it was fun.
The brightest spot of this movie, although I really enjoyed Emma Roberts, the brightest spot of this movie was the poop scene when she has to go to the bathroom.
It was hysterical. I was hurting. I was laughing so hard.
And what that led me to want to ask is, okay, there are some legendary poop scenes in movies that we like. And so let's play a little buy, rent, or meh with them. Not this movie.
Mom, just wait till we introduce the bit.
Don't show Mom the notes anymore. She's just
already answering.
It's like when you watch a show with Mom.
I can't even read the notes.
I didn't read it.
She's just saying what the correct answer is.
It's like when you watch a show with Mom that she's already seen and she starts predicting things. Okay, so buy, rent, or
that she hasn't seen. I started season 6 of Bosch with her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that wife. She definitely is on it. She did it with that guy. They murdered the guy." And I was like, God, Mom, I have an entire season to watch. In the second episode, she's telling me the whole thing.
Well, when you watch 16 years of NCIS, you know the end of movies and shows.
So buy, rent, or meh.
I've seen all the scripts.
Dumb and Dumber. The scene in Dumb and Dumber with Jeff Daniels in the bathroom.
I don't know if she remembers.
Which I like. I don't find that funny, but all I think about is Lily and Becky laughing hard.
I think that is one of the funniest,
the best
physical comedy of all time.
I have
full body convulsions are.
I laughed so hard, like I hurt myself.
Mm-hmm.
The I
can't. I'm just. Yeah.
Probably the least famous, but the oft quoted in our family in Van Wilder when the bad guy at the end is taking his LSAT exam and they give him the medicine. And he goes in the garbage can and yells, "I'm bleeding."
He like shits in the room with the exam people.
See, that's too much for me. I like that. I'm okay. Yeah.
And then the very famous Bridesmaids.
Look
scene.
away.
And I'm going to say the whole scene, not just the grand finale, but the whole scene. So
and when she poos
and
in the street.
What's the question?
You have to buy, rent, or meh.
Okay. I mean, I don't remember the scene in Dumb and Dumber because it was when you guys were little and I was probably busy while you were watching that movie, even though I might have watched it with you many times. I don't remember. I'd have to watch that scene again, so I can't speak to it. But I think
please watch that scene with Mom and video Mom watching it.
Okay. I will.
So from beginning to end, the entire bit of Bridesmaids, like when it begins after they walk out of the restaurant and then they go to the bridal shop, and the way it develops to the climax is truly a buildup of one of the funniest things ever written for a movie.
Yeah, I would say the construct of that poop scene is phenomenal. Now, I don't think it needed to like ride on the shoulders of the other poop scenes that have come before it, but it is a masterpiece, that poop scene.
So I think
it's just agree. Because it's not just because like if you think about Holiday, it's funny as soon as she walks
comes
out
of nowhere.
Holiday is not on the table
because you saw Bridesmaids,
right?
No, but I'm trying to explain. It's funny and she does it masterfully, and it's a very kind of almost heartwarming scene. If you're married or going out with someone who would actually do that for you, right? Like clean you up after you make a mess on yourself. But the bridesmaid scene with the dress in the street, the whole thing was just beyond anything I'd ever seen. To me, it was one of the funniest things. It will always be one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So that's a buy.
Thumbs it up.
Yeah. Buy Bridesmaids, rent Dumb and Dumber, meh Van Wilder.
I flipped Van Wilder and Dumb and Dumber, but that's fair. Okay.
I buy all of them because I don't play by the rules.
Okay.
We know
Lily loves a good
Lily has her own podcast. No rules.
Moving on to the next.
No, she just loves a good poop scene.
Moving on to the next more substantive part of the episode here.
Okay.
The Mandalorian season 2 is upon us. We're now 3 episodes in, and I think like most streaming shows, it takes 3 episodes before you know whether or not the season's going to be good.
Okay, but can we talk about the fact that episode 1 for sure, and debatably episode 2 kind of contradict the entire Mando character that they spent season 1 building and creating. He's dumber. He's
How?
making weird choices. He's
It's
like,
funny you say that.
Well, yeah,
I
he's
said today in the
gullible.
3rd episode, I said, this is one really gullible guy. What the hell?
it just seems like he's making choices that are putting Baby Yoda at risk, that don't seem important. It's just...
Here's my criticism of The Mandalorian and of Boba Fett is that they are suits that people think are super cool, that really like they haven't figured out really what those characters are. Whereas other characters that are Mandalorians, for example, Bo-Katan, who appears in the 3rd episode, who is established in a lot of depth in the animated series, who is played by one of the actors I cannot stand, Katie Sackhoff. I'm so much more.
Oh, geez. Well, tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean,
what's happening
weird.
there?
That's
only
season
ever
of
had nice
24 she
things
was in
to say about you. So it's a
What
bit
was
weird.
what did she play in 24?
The one where they waterboard her. Oh, she was the worst. It was season 7 or 8. It was whatever one of the. I stopped watching the show because
People
stopped
watched
watching before.
beyond season 1.
So, anyways,
Shy.
Katie Sackhoff, and she was also in Battlestar
Where were you when we
Galactica.
were in the country watching season after season, Becky?
I was the one who brought the DVDs.
Sorry.
Mom. So Katie
She means Becky.
So my point is that character was well established without the armor. She was a character that was sketched. The Mandalorian, like, is ultimately, people are like, you know what people really love? Boba Fett armor. Let's make a show with a lot of Boba Fett armor. And I think this season is good. I love the 3rd episode, but the character of the Mando, like, they finally have introduced, I think, something somewhat interesting about him when you find out in the 3rd episode, spoiler alert, that his whole creed of Mandalorianism is this like extreme cult, and that the rest of the Mandalorians that we've known all along haven't been, take off their helmets.
It's really interesting because when he got his new suit in season 1, I got the feeling that they were this cultish zealot group, but I didn't know because I don't know the entire what do you call it? The mythology or the what do you call it, Shai? The code?
The code, the creed.
The whole oeuvre of the I don't know the whole the whole universe.
Oh, the whole universe,
of Mandalorians.
But there's others.
Well,
I didn't know that there were others until him. Right. But for example, like when Boba Fett existed, I didn't know there were others. And then now the Mandalorian comes up. I really didn't. I didn't know the story behind the Mandalorians. In any event, when in season 1, it struck me that these people seem very cultish and zealot. But I said, okay, to me, that was okay. So that's their story. I love the fact that they introduce this other set of Mandalorians that aren't zealots.
It's like unorthodox.
And
but
unorthodox, right?
Well,
You mean there's Jews?
Well, they are the
Jewish
mainstream
women that don't wear a wig.
They are the mainstream.
The other ones are the mainstream ones.
The woman Bo-Katan, played by Katie Sackhoff, who I changed.
We know you don't like her.
Well, no, I changed my opinion on her just based on her playing Bo-Katan because she was fantastic in that role. That character is part of the like royal court of this planet that was destroyed by the Empire because it had its own independent streak during the Clone Wars, and eventually because the Empire couldn't control them, they destroyed it. But Bo-Katan's sister was the Duchess of the planet. She was the actual royalty of the planet, and she was also Obi-Wan Kenobi's love interest. My point being is that Mandalorians, as far as we know thus far, before the show The Mandalorians are more like the ones you saw that got added into the show. It was really confusing to me for 10 episodes of this show to be like, I don't get it. They've been telling us Mandalorians are this other group of people that take off their helmets all the time. I don't understand what's going on here.
So that makes more sense to you now.
Yeah, that was a huge relief for me because it was super annoying.
But if you think about how they're structuring what they probably hope to be many seasons, it's great that they had you confused and it was a bit of a suspense of where is this going, because that's a cool device, I think. Here's this universe of people like you, Shai, that know the backstory to a lot of stuff. And then there's people like me I'm just a fan from the very beginning, but I never bothered to look at all of the side stories, right?
It also gives him room to evolve and develop if he's going to then move away from his
Pascal,
if he ever is, because right now he's still very much a zealot. So, and he's so focused on the one mission he has that he almost never cares about anything else, which might be why he makes such stupid decisions.
And it doesn't make any sense. So he was a kid he's
a child. Yeah.
Lily, I think you made a point in our conversations offline about how he was brainwashed, that maybe his whole creed isn't exactly like he was brainwashed as a kid.
Right.
He was basically raised by this cult, which I think is a really nice spin and makes him more interesting because
it gives him more room to grow and develop.
And Pasquale has been arguing to get the helmet off. I don't know if you saw this. He and Disney got into a big argument.
Because he wants his face to be seen. Right. I mean, how much does an actor not want their face to be seen?
What are you saying, Shai?
And so that's that. And so, Becky, what did you think in particular of the first couple episodes? I know you liked them more than I did. Or maybe I like the first one. I didn't like the second one, but in general, I thought the first two were like throwaway. But you were more into it.
Yeah. So I understood what I do like about the structure of the show is that every episode is a new adventure. Great. I'm on board. I have no problem with that being the structure. But if that's the structure, then each adventure has to be a piece of the puzzle, a key, right? It makes me think of Avatar, right? Every episode of Avatar is a new adventure, but it's a little clue towards the grand finale, or to the whole story. My problem with the first episode is that, yes, they're giving us some sort of clue, which is that he's looking for another Mandalorian, which we assume is Boba Fett, right? But in order to be on that adventure, he is contradicting everything that he was building in season 1, which is to get Baby Yoda to a safe place, to the Jedi, right? So that's everything needs to be driving that forward. But there's this key moment in that episode where he's fighting a sand monster in order to make a trade. If he kills the sand monster, he gets the Mandalorian armor back from Timothy Olyphant. And you're like, okay, whatever. That doesn't even seem that important. Although we get it if he's like a religious, extremist equivalent, or like a cult kid. But my problem is that he thinks at one point that he's going to die. Like, he's so committed to getting this armor back, he's going to die for it. And then just goes to Olyphant, okay, if I die, take care of the kid. What? So when did all of a sudden getting this armor become more important than his mission of getting Yoda to a safe place? But I'm just saying, it's like,
I truly believe
but Becky, can I say something?
I truly believe that they are, hold on.
Hold on.
I truly believe they are shoehorning Boba Fett into this story. He does not need to be a part of it, but they're like forcing it as much.
Right.
As
so there's a lot about that episode.
What does that have to do with Boba Fett?
Lily did not catch that they showed Boba Fett alive at the end of the first episode. That guy who's,
and that's whose armor he gets.
I didn't catch that.
That's Boba Fett, and then the armor that he gets back from Olyphant is Boba Fett's armor.
Is it?
Yes. That I think we realized at the beginning of it. But
the guy that's watching him.
Yeah, the bald guy.
The bald, yeah.
That's watching him is Boba Fett.
Tamara Morrison.
And that's who's watching him.
Yeah.
That's Boba Fett.
Yeah.
What made Becky realize that was him?
I would never have known.
I texted Shai.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Makes me feel a lot better.
Now I'm gonna go back and watch.
But wait, hold on. Yeah, but here's the thing. So that's what really bothered me about the first episode. My other issue with the first episode is actually, and it's a shame, but it felt like Amy Sedaris was acting. She plays like the junkyard mechanic woman. It felt like she was acting in a completely different show. Like, her acting was not in tune, in a line with anything else. She's funny and she's weird, and her overacting can be really charming, but it just tone wise, it was so jarring. It actually made me not enjoy the scenes or the episodes. So I was like, it just feels so weird and uneven, and like they're not even the same.
The Oliphant compensated so much for anything that I was so happy that he was in it that I was fine.
I think the lesson is more.
I loved him and Mando.
I just couldn't believe that they put in a sheriff Oliphant. Were we bad?
That's why.
If you
that's
need
why.
a sheriff, that's who you
That's who you hire. That's why it's good.
I know.
Now the second episode,
I loved it, mind you.
The second episode I liked more because it was scary, and you bring in the resistance fighters, and I thought it was like just like a more fun adventure one that's actually
let's get into the controversy of the second episode.
No, wait a second. One of the things that I wanted to say is that I felt that there is a thread of moving things forward, because in every episode he comes across someone that takes him to the next step, right?
But those steps are somewhat like artificial. That's just because they've decided that he needs to go to Tatooine, and then he needs to go to the ice planet that isn't Hoth, and then he needs to go to the water planet.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like, it's a little bit like the Star Wars travel show, and at this point,
it's a lot.
But Lily, why don't you take us through the controversy, Lily? Which I'll tell you.
Yeah. Okay, so we watched the episode, and there's a very dark kind of comedic bit in the episode of, Mando has to bring this frog creature to this planet and transport her so he can find another Mandalorian. She's carrying eggs
in a container
that she needs to have fertilized, because she is the last line of her family. Like, that is the last hope for her family line to continue. But she carries them in this container that seems to have a very easy to open, like, lid you just pop. And as we know, Baby Yoda is a carnivore, and he's hungry because he's growing. And he snacks on those eggs multiple times during the episode.
He's so
and
cute.
Mando reprimands him. He just pops them in his mouth. And Mando reprimands him because that poor frog's eggs, right? Haha, he. Turns out audiences everywhere were up in arms, because how could you make a joke about somebody like losing their eggs or their baby, their future babies, their family line? It's nothing to joke about. And there was quite a controversy about this scene. I specifically thought, I was going to say, it was interesting because on Twitter, someone, everybody's making a big fuss. And one of the people who worked on that episode specifically wrote, look, like, we thought it was comedic. Like, some dark comedy would like bring some light to the episode.
The showrunner, right?
It wasn't the show. It wasn't the showrunner. It was somebody. It was, I think, someone who is a part of the creative artistic team, actually, and said, we kind of thought, well, it's like a chicken before it's fertilized. It's not really an animal, and we eat eggs. A lot of people eat eggs, so we didn't think it was such a big deal. And then people wrote back, yeah, but a chicken isn't like a being with like intelligence to the level of that it like mothers the way this frog species does. So that's a problem. And then someone else pipes in and says, actually, it's not at all like the chicken. It's more like somebody who's trying to do IVF, and then somebody steals their eggs and they can't do IVF. And I was reading this and I'm like, Jesus. And I go, look, I don't want to get, look, I don't
wait, let her finish.
Wait, listen, I go, I don't know. In the moment, I was like, that's pretty dark and funny. And I go, but if you're going to bring IVF into this, I'm just going to say my embryos are cryogenically frozen at like a lockdown lab. She just left her babies in like some rando hallway on a ship. Like
with a creature, like
with a creature that she doesn't know. Like, pick them, like we're at the beginning of episode 3 where she's like grabbing onto those babies, holding them. Lady, like, you
I do want
like a can of Coke.
I want to point out a couple of things. Vlad and I did a lot of talking on this. And my reaction was, listen, I found it dark and funny. I understand and I respect that not all people, that joke did not sit well with people, and that's okay. And I get that. That has value to it. But what it showed to me is that the writers in the room, the creative voices, are only representing one specific voice, because I do think that somebody I don't know if it would have been a woman or someone with a different experience. Somebody would have brought that up, and the joke could have been written differently, and it wasn't. And that to me just points to
How would it be different? I think that
so
joke is that
how could the joke be written? No,
Yeah.
Vlad and I talked about
Tell
how
me.
would you rewrite it. Vlad's
Tell
pitch for
me.
the joke was that the whole episode, the gag is that he's trying to eat them. And he keeps getting caught, and Mando and then at the very end, when Mando's not looking or she's not looking, he gets and he sneaks one. And the dark joke is that he eats one. Not that he's consistently eating them throughout, but you're building it up to like he's getting,
I think it's
like getting your hand
to
caught
be
in the
like,
cookie.
sure. I feel like that's
and you can
like
rewrite
same
it
shit,
to be
different
like,
file.
no,
know
but
what I
it's like
mean?
less,
I don't know.
less babies being eaten. You know,
Like, true.
But anyway,
It seemed the way. Like I feel like I will say this quickly. Someone else then defended the bit by saying, you don't know if Baby Yoda's good or bad. You don't know this character. And you don't know if he's eating babies, he doesn't care. Like you assume because you know Yoda that this is an altruistic character and he's so cute. He's a carnivore. Like you have no idea what his ethical alignment is. And he's a baby.
A toddler.
And he's a baby.
Come on. You put food that the toddler likes in front of them, some candy
Becky
or
knows.
Cookies or whatever.
She's a toddler.
You can't keep a lid on it.
Have you seen my kid?
Try to take an egg away from baby Sonny.
I err on that, like
Lose
the
a finger.
character part. I hope it wasn't just played for laughs, because I would expect Star Wars to be smarter than that. If it was just, I did enjoy it as a joke, but I think the character part of it is exactly what you said. Baby Yoda is learning, not just the child is not just learning like how to exist. He's learning about the value
right
of
and
life
wrong
and the
right
value
and
of life. And when you look at the end of that third episode and he sees the
where
miracle of
he's
the baby
playing with the
born,
thing.
and
Oh
then
no,
he
I kept
says,
being
"Can I
like, please
keep
don't
it?"
eat that frog. I was like, oh shit. If he eats that baby frog, then we do have a problem.
To me, all of those jokes, all the random spiders and things he eats, until he sees that baby born and he realizes what the life is, and then he loves it and he wants to know if he can keep it, which is the last line, I think.
The bit, yeah, he's like, we already have a pet.
To me, that's the character payoff of what I did think was pretty funny, of a bunch of like again, like alien creatures like eating funny things and Baby Yoda. Like I thought it was funny, and I realized why. I take Becky's position, which is it could have been done better. He didn't actually.
That's a good point.
He didn't actually need to eat it for the joke to work.
That's a good point.
But the character piece, I think, is very much has to do with Baby Yoda is an extremely powerful being, and he is going to have to learn to value life in order to do whatever he is meant to do.
And what I find, and I had thought about this already, but it was very clear in the relationship of the Mandalorian to Baby Yoda and the eggs, and ultimately the tadpole frog, is that the Mandalorian, who we don't know anything about him except that he was raised by this cult, is actually teaching Baby Yoda how to be civilized. No, you don't eat that. Stop doing that. Behave yourself. Be respectful.
Well, he's got a very strict moral code.
No, but it's very interesting that it's not another Jedi that's teaching Baby Yoda how to be respectful and ethics. It's a Mandalorian, which has nothing to do with
a bounty hunter.
Who's a bounty hunter. So I think that is a really interesting development that I wasn't expecting. He's not just ushering Baby Yoda to the planet with the Jedis. He's actually
a vested interest
on the way, which I think is a nice dimension that's added to it.
Now, Lily, I understand you probably and Becky have a lot of questions about what exactly is happening, because the big reveals of that third episode in particular.
I'm not sure if we should take this offline.
Okay, all right.
It'll make no. I mean, like it either will make Becky and I look like we know nothing about Star Wars, or it'll make it look like you know too much about Star Wars.
The bottom line is the risk.
Give us a bottom line.
I know about the dark saber. She's explained it all to me.
Ahsoka Tano was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, and she leaves the Jedi Order because of a controversy. Basically, as the Jedi Order is getting old and like stuck in their own head, they blame her for something and they kick her out that they never should have. And that is part of Anakin's leading to the dark side and losing trust in the Jedi, even before Padme dies in Revenge of the Sith. So Ahsoka herself she's kind of like Luke Skywalker. She goes from annoying young character learning to use the Force to like very wise but very jaded person doing the right thing. And she is kind of like this, like, not lone wolf, but she has a few friends, but in general, she comes in and out of the series after that. And she emerged as probably the most interesting new character of the last period, even more interesting than the new characters in the new films. So forever, people have been wondering, are they going to have the guts to put her into live action? And forever, everyone's always wanted Rosario Dawson to play her. So Rosario Dawson is cast to play her, and they're building up to this. My fear, or not my fear, I think this proves one of my points, which is that people are always saying, oh, I love The Mandalorian because it, it's different. It's all the things we loved about Star Wars. It's like Empire Strikes Back. There's no Jedis. You know what? The thing that makes Star Wars is Jedis and the Force and all of those things about good and evil that are there. And when she's on the screen and part of the story, I'm not really sure how much value the actual Mandalorian is going to have anymore, because they, aside from this little zealot thing, they haven't really established much value to him other than the guy transporting Baby Yoda, who is also connected to the rest of the universe. Otherwise, he's just like a dude wrestling with his religious beliefs. So the introduction of Ahsoka is.
Do we know anything about him biologically? Because we know he's a foundling, and we know that the Mandalorians take him in and raise him within their cult. But do we know where he really comes from and who were his ancestors?
He comes from Mandalore, but we don't know for sure. And then the other thing I'll say is, I'll predict is, I still have felt Tamora Morrison, who played Boba Fett, they showed him once. He also is a character fashioned after him is Captain Rex, who is a former stormtrooper who is Ahsoka Tano's like loyal buddy. And there's all sorts of speculation, because his death has not been seen yet on screen, that he survived and he fought in Return of the Jedi on the planet of Endor, and that he might still be with Ahsoka Tano. And I figure if you've got Tamora Morrison coming back to play Boba Fett, slap a white beard on him and have him be Captain Rex also. So I am looking to see if when Ahsoka's on screen, Captain Rex is there. And if they have those two, they don't need to make The Mandalorian anymore. I will just watch that show till the end of time, because that is one of the best relationships and like bonds of friends in all of Star Wars.
And you're saying you've seen this from the cartoon?
Well, the animated series, Lily.
Sorry, the animated series.
Cartoon.
This is where you've seen this backstory from the Rebel Clone Wars.
You guys are going to be so confused when this happens.
Here's the thing.
Okay, so wait.
What I need is I need to see Pedro Pascal's face, and I need Baby Yoda.
Again.
You give me those two things, I'll watch it till the end of time.
Right, exactly, Becky. I think you're totally right. However, here's the part that I really appreciated today, because before those three Mandalorians took off their mask, I think it was before that, I said to Lily, where are the people? The original Star Wars movies, it isn't just about the Force and Yoda. It was Luke and Leia.
That's when she said, I need a little more Han Solo.
Meaning that I need more people in this. It's like only creatures and people in suits. Where are the funny, campy humans?
Or this, like some
and
more
when the Mandalorians
humans
took off their mask, I went, finally, we're going to have a little bit of human action here. Even though they're Mandalorian, they're still humans. And which is what's his name again? Pedro Pascal. He's obviously underneath this thing, a good-looking human. But
Mom just wants some hotties.
No, but we're missing.
Wants hunks.
Mom wants
It's not just the hunks. I want the human campiness, which we get a little bit with Yoda, with the eggs and all the dark humor and all that. But we need a little bit more of that. And then I think that, besides the fact you're totally right, Becky, Baby Yoda.
I'd watch a cooking show of just Baby Yoda eating stuff.
He's hysterical. So cute.
I don't know who's
now
the
that
puppet
I have
master
a baby
behind him, but he's
now
amazing.
That I do have a little baby that is about, I guess, what a 50-year-old Yoda sounds like. Oh my God! It's just like little goo goo gagas. It's so cute. Those are the same sounds.
Very powerful goo goo gaga.
I love it. It's so cute.
All right, that wraps our Mandalorian discussion. Let's now move on to what we've been watching. People watching,
but like overall, a buy. Everybody's like,
oh yeah, Mandalorian, keep it coming.
Yeah,
I think it's in danger. I think it's in danger of being in of really ultimately people just, it's like the same thing with like Luke Skywalker. In the end of the day, like people want to see Luke Skywalker. Stop.
Right.
Now, Mark Hamill has said he would reprise his role. If he reprised his role, it could be done in this time period because Luke Skywalker is still alive and
he's alive.
Correct.
That'd be
So-
pretty
I'm
cool.
kind of waiting for that. I'm waiting for one of the trios to
Very
show up.
cool.
And we know it's not going to be Harrison Ford. So, hey.
Or Leia.
Well, Leia, but,
Yeah. May she rest in peace.
So yeah,
All
buy all
right.
around. Keep watching The Mandalorian. All right, Mom, what have you been watching?
It's really interesting. Oh, Ted Lasso.
I know we're behind on our own podcast about it.
But Ted Lasso was
It's one of the best shows I've ever
was-
seen.
I have to tell you, especially
Also,
we
there's no
watched
greater
it-
serendipity than us finding Ted Lasso when we did.
We found it. Number one, we were in confinement, and
It's been a tough few weeks
it's
over
been a
here.
tough few weeks, and then
that
the
show was-
election,
yes,
and it was
right
just
on
a
the-
very stressful time. And we started watching Ted Lasso, and it's like someone takes a weight off of you when you watch that show. It's so delightful and funny, and I don't know. I just love that show. It came at the right time. It's like, if you're in an RX wreck when you are down or stressed, have a shot.
They
of
did
Ted
2
Lasso.
episodes about it. Without
Okay,
me.
but I needed to say that. What else have I watched? No, I'm very busy here with
You're
you babies.
watching some like magic show for young middle school girls.
That's a little child's show. But I did watch something else that I said to you was very good that I
Okay,
watched
you
by
think
myself.
about it, and
I
then
can't
we'll go, and then
remember.
we can come back to
It
you.
wasn't very memorable if I can't remember what it was.
We'll come
but
back.
then
To you.
again,
You've
I
been
fall
watching that show
asleep.
that Lori Loughlin was fired from for cheating.
Full House?
Well, no, Where
No.
the Heart Is, about like Canadian
I
Mounties.
watched a Hallmark. You have to understand,
She
under
was the
a great deal of stress.
Hallmark
and
shows.
of the world and the pandemic and illness and a new baby. I do watch things like Bosch, and I started watching The Alienist. These are dark shows.
I couldn't even watch that.
But I need something that is not only that you can watch even if you're not watching TV.
Oh, New Amsterdam is what she watches.
Right.
Doctor.
But I just want to refer to this Hallmark show because it's like pablum, but it's sweet, and you don't feel bad. Like you can watch it, you don't have to pay close attention.
Do you
It's kind
remember
of
the
being
name of this
soothed.
show?
Where the Heart Is,
or
where my
something like that.
heartfelt heart
No,
is.
it's actually based on some novel.
My
but
Heartfelt Mountie. Just look at IMDb Lori Loughlin. Whatever.
Anyway,
She's not
was
actually
in it,
recommending anybody
and,
watch the
and
show.
Lily kept saying to me, but they took her off the show.
Well, she was fired.
Yeah, she was fired from the show before, and I'm watching, like, I'm in season 3 now, and I'm waiting for the day that she stops coming on the show because she's one of the main actresses. And in my head, I'm going, how are they going to get rid of her? Because she's a main actor in the show.
Put her in prison?
And no. At the end of a random episode, they tell each other, oh, it's too bad so-and-so had to go to East to take care of her mother.
Yeah.
And she takes her adopted kid with her, and they disappear from the show. So the sad thing is this poor kid who was doing a really good job.
Yeah,
He's
she's
like
out
10-year-old kid lost his
Lori Loughlin
job.
couldn't
because she
get
went
kids
to
into
prison.
school the normal way.
Anyway, so that was the end of that. That show finished, and Shai, you'll appreciate this. It's one of these shows that everything is very sweet and wonderful, and things always work out, and then they friggin' kill one of the another main actor, who the principal character is the love of her life, and they just kill him off. And I'm going, what the
This
hell
show
is
does not
that
seem like a
about?
good investment.
I have to tell you, I feel like I spent enough time listening to Mom talk about it. I don't need to watch it now.
All right.
No,
yeah,
he's not recommending it.
I do not recommend it. But what I do recommend,
recommend
interestingly
anything?
enough, is New Amsterdam. It is a hospital show that is intense
on
and
Amazon
dark,
Prime.
but it's really good.
Another hospital show.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
There's
you
only
watch
one
a lot of
hospital show.
Animated.
Welcome back,
Grey's.
season 17, Grey's, eps 1
Grey's
and 2.
Anatomy.
Season 17, if you needed another reason to
So this show, New Amsterdam, is a cross between
Still
ER, the original ER.
Yeah, still going. I think they got it.
Wow.
They got
No,
it.
she mentioned Grey's. I'm going to say it's
Mom,
a cross
I'm cutting you
between
off.
ER
It's like
I'm
7
cutting you
minutes.
off.
No.
I think you've been talking for 7 minutes.
All
We
right.
talked
Lily,
for half
what
an
are you
hour about
watching?
Mandalorian.
Queen's
Mom,
Gambit.
Mom, that's the subject.
yeah.
That was the subject of the show, not.
I thought I was the subject of the show.
No,
We
we love you very much. Queen's Gambit is as good as they say it is.
It
so
is
watch
so good.
it.
Sexy chess, here we come.
Yep, bring it.
Listen, Becky, you once said about Riverdale, why does Veronica always look like she's going to a sexy meeting at the bank?
at bank.
Sexy meeting at the bank. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. All right, Becky, what are you watching?
I am watching it came out a little while ago, but the newest season of Great British Baking Show that's up on Netflix. I'm watching it and calling it like I'm a angry sportscaster. I am very into it. It's a lot of fun. And I also just started the Hulu show The Great with Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult. That's it's like this very stylized, absurdist take on Catherine the Great. And it's really kind of wild and fun and unexpected.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
So I have been watching The Magicians based on Josh and Mom's recommendation, and they have done great in other scenarios, but like this one is a serious snooze. So much of this show is like discussion of recipes of spells as if you're supposed to know or care. And there's always new conditions being turned on. Well, if we look in the mirror and we eat the flies, then we won't be able to get your brother back from the well outside in the campus.
Yes,
I'm
true.
banging my head against the wall, Shy.
Little
It's
sense.
really good fantasy movie show, and you're.
I mean, I don't think I'm bash. I don't
Next
bash
thing
it
you're
as
going to
much
say
as
is
Shy
Umbrella
does.
Academy is crap too.
He definitely doesn't watch that. I'm not on board as Mom and Josh, but I'm not bashing it. I'm not like against
I'll
it.
pick it up once in a while, but
I
watched like 4 episodes over 4 nights, and none of the characters are likable yet. It's a lot. So I don't know if I'm going to keep watching that. The Old Guard, Tio Mario was convinced me to watch it, and he was so excited. I tried to watch it twice, and
what's it about?
I mean, look, I sleep through everything, but I slept through it twice and did not really have much interest in finding out what happened to Charlize and her immortal friends. So unfortunately, I loved Charlize and she was great in it. I'm not super interested in what happens next with the Old Guard. I don't know. You guys watched a while ago. What did you think about it, Lil?
Oh, we did a whole bit on it. Becky rewrote it.
Oh, right.
No, Becky said that like they couldn't. Becky's theory with Vlad was like they couldn't afford to really make it, so they just do these like they just like move the story along. Becky, you were saying in that really cheap way of just talking about it and then showing you these flashbacks.
There's a lot of
it. There's so much talking in the movie.
Which movie?
For Old Guard with Charlize.
Oh yeah,
there's so much talking.
There's a lot of Basil exposition.
Instead of just showing you the
action. They couldn't afford to film all the action scenes, so they talk about it.
And then
they just explain the action scenes to you.
And a lot of the action scenes are very shooty. So now let's go to 2 marvelous treats, like found money as far as I'm concerned. The great Janet Varney tweeted about this film she was in called The Selling, which is a comedy horror from the genius minds of Gabriel Diani and Etta Devine, who are a comedy duo. And I watched this movie, The Selling, and I also didn't realize till afterwards that, of course, it's kind of a take on The Shining because it's about this realtor trying to sell a haunted house.
The Selling.
And it is funny and sharp. And
we gotta watch it.
It also is heartwarming. It has a sweetness about it in the end, and to some of the characters, because there are characters that are good friends. And Janet's in it as the quasi villain, and she's very
the best.
In it. And
where can people see it?
And so people can see it on Amazon Prime. So it's on Amazon Prime right now.
Awesome.
It's a nice little, not very scary. It's not scary, not scary horror comedy that is really like lovable. And the Gabriel Diani and Etta Devine are hilarious. So I thought they were so funny that I was like, okay, now I need to find out as much as I can about these two. And so they have another movie that should be watched after The Selling because it references The Selling in a funny way, called Diani and Devine Meet the Apocalypse. And it's about them as a couple and a comedy duo mundanely getting through the apocalypse. And it is in some ways you're worried going into it, oh, it's going to be another typical apocalypse movie, but it's not. It's really funny. There's great cameos in both movies. They have a lot of the same cameos in both movies. So you have that Kevin Smith kind of feel of like, oh, they've got Janet Varney back. Oh, they've got
Barry.
They
use the same players.
Barry Bostwick from Rocky Horror is in it. And so I loved it. And then on top of that, Harry Groener. Okay, only I would know who Harry Groener is in both movies. He was the original Munkustrap on Broadway and Cats.
Oh my God.
So if I
Oh,
ever
God,
have
Charlie.
the
Does he sing and
opportunity
dance in this one too?
in Meet the Apocalypse, he has a singing part, but it's very hammy. Anyways, the point is that I tweeted at Etta Divine and asked her and Gabriel if they would come on the show, and we're working on that. I hope it happens.
That's awesome.
Because
I can't wait to see this.
Total treat.
We will watch those two shows.
Total treat. They are both extremely talented. I and this is the beginning, right? These are their first two movies that they've made. These very, very like indie movies, and I think there's just so much more amazing, funny stuff that they're gonna do. So, Diani and Divine,
Cool.
keep an eye on that. And with that,
Okay.
Becky, where can people follow you?
At Paper BK Princess on Twitter.
And Mom, do you want people to follow you?
They can follow me. I don't know what they're going to find, but at Inner Wonder
On
Twitter.
on Twitter.
And
No,
Instagram.
on Instagram.
No, you're not.
Don't have
you're
people
saying
follow you
she's
on
public.
Instagram.
Your
I don't
Instagram
post
isn't
anything on it.
public.
Yeah, it is.
Yours is public.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's
Okay, on
private. Who's
Twitter.
gonna follow her?
Well,
I
no,
don't
that's a
post
very
on
exclusive.
Twitter, but-
Maybe when we start a Patreon, it can be exclusive. Like certain people, you can
You get
only get to follow Mom if you're a Patreon subscriber.
That's
if you
great.
donate money to the
And then we can make
post
Mom
the
start doing
hippo
live
video.
stories, live Q&A.
Oh my god, she's gonna have to stay living here because I'm gonna have to be like her agent, like publicity person. I'll take care of it.
You're so cute. She's trying to find many different ways to keep you living here forever.
I am, and
Just,
and I'm.
spoiler alert.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like I deserve like a welcome back, Lily. You're back.
Welcome
At
back.
some point
We
on
missed
this
you.
episode.
Welcome back, Lily. Way to
We
miss a
missed
bunch
you.
of
We're
missed
glad
episodes.
you're
you.
back.
I
Becky
miss
did a
you
great
guys.
Did
job
anybody
in
ask you
your
how you
absence.
feel?
Do you know how much I had to
They-
prepare? I did research. I watched
I
things in
know.
advance.
Becky
I
showed
had
up on
preparation
time.
calls.
I'm so
She
happy to
watched
be.
all
I
the
was
shows. She took
on time,
notes.
focused, showered, good
And-
lighting.
And
Ugh,
I'll say we also had some great guests. We had
did.
Alana.
no, wait,
Austin.
that's
I
not
wanted
true.
to
I did one
thank-
episode from my car.
We had Alana
I
Austin. we
do
had
want to
Josh
thank
Crew, we had
the
Kaylin
wonderful
Raymond.
people, like when the late night hosts take a break and they get like celebs to fill in for them. So I really want to thank everybody that filled in for me. And I can't wait. Like now that I finished Ted Lasso, I can listen to the eps. I heard there were spoilers, so I didn't want to listen, but I can't wait to catch up on our own podcast. So I want to thank them and thank you guys. And I'm really excited to be back and slowly making my way back to Twitter. So you can follow me, ChiChik Gomez, Gomez on the Twitter, Chichi K Gomez.
And I think we're at me. You can follow me at Pancake4Table, Pancake and the number 4 table on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow all the Friday Night Movie shenanigans at Fry Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram, or FridayNightMoviePod.com. I actually did a little scaffolding, little fresh coat of paint on the website. So check it out. Let us know what you think. We as a family have been and continue to support the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and the Equal Justice Initiative. Please check out those organizations, now as important as ever. And with that, the music from our show, our theme song from What Does It Eat will kick in post-production, and we will dance our way into the evening. Thanks, Mom, for being here on your day after your birthday. Love you.
No,
Love
you
you
Thank
guys.
you for having me.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Because I had all three of you, so thank you for having me.
I'm that's hilarious. I'm honestly surprised you weren't too hungover that you
That I
could
what?
That I wasn't too what?
too hungover to do
Drunk.
the pod.
Yeah. Or
No, I slept on the lounge chair for about an hour, and then I had a cup of coffee, and then I jumped into a cold swimming pool. So I was totally ready for you guys.
I could tell you had a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had mimosas for brunch, except that I drank most of it. But it was fun.
Things that don't surprise me.
Not a lot of mimosa drinkers
Hey,
in that house,
listen.
now that I think about it.
No,
I like
everybody
orange
had
juice
some.
and I like champagne, but I don't need them mixed. They're both
I tried
Well,
them
I
mixed
had
for
to
the
make it
first
mixed
time.
I
because Daddy
accidentally
wasn't gonna drink
drank a
straight
table
up.
full of screwdrivers at Aunt Silka's anniversary party, thinking they were orange juices, and
I
was
said,
hammered when I was
How
like
old
13
were
or
you?
13 or something. I mean, I was very young, and I was just like, these orange juices taste spoiled, but I really love orange juice.
So we had to make screwdrivers because Lily didn't want straight up alcohol and Daddy didn't want
I
mimosas.
mimosas.
didn't.
And
You
Jose
made
was going
them. You made
surfing.
mimosas. I didn't.
So I made the mimosas because I figured this way they'll drink
Or the
with me.
oranges from
Otherwise,
your
I'll end
tree.
up bringing. They're the oranges from
Good.
my tree, our
Delicious.
tree, and it was really delicious. It
It
was a
can be
nice
your
way to,
tree.
to have vitamin C and bubbly. And poor Jose went surfing after this very large brunch. He said he threw up at least 3 times in the ocean. It was just not a good idea to eat that much before going surfing.
Oh, did he say he
Threw up in the ocean?
in the
Yeah,
whole ocean?
the whole
Oh my
ocean.
goodness.
It's a big place.
We've
You
got
guys big.
I'm just saying,
You
we've got
guys
cold
heard the
opens, we've got
story?
cold endings here. Like,
Have you guys heard the story
Yeah.
of Vlad and the burrito and double espresso on his way?
Yes. Yes.
No, I haven't. But
Yeah,
I'm
it-
assuming we can't use it for the
Yeah.
podcast. By the way.
Can't use it for the podcast, but I need it recorded just for our family vault.